welcome to the second hour of Tracks Momentum. It's a winning Wednesday, 27th of November 2024. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you. And on Wednesdays, our interview segment is called What Matters, where we aim to have conversations that inform you, inspire you, and at the same time, empower you. And on today's What Matters, yes, we're going to touch on one of the pillars of What Matters, which is empowering. Empowering the demographic that is the most vulnerable in our country, and that's children, particularly children who do not have, an elderly companion, a parent, or maybe a guardian to help them, to talk to them, and identify in case they have become victims of any form of violence, domestic violence, physical abuse, or even sexual abuse. That's a stigma. Some kids don't even want to talk about it. Why? Why do they not talk about it? Because they don't have a trusted voice. They don't have a trusted companion, a guardian that they can rely on. And what's sad is oftentimes when we dig deep into these stories of kids being victims of sexual abuse, it's oftentimes done by people that they know, people who are close to them. There's some very irresponsible adults who groom them for the sole purpose of using them for their personal gain. That is sick. But we're going to talk today about something that's very important. We're going to talk to a person who is leading the voice, who is lending a voice for the voiceless. She's from the Legal Aid Department. She's the Senior Deputy Director, and her name is Kanmani, daughter of Nookaiah. Kanmani, hi, good morning. Welcome to Tracks.
Hello, good morning. Before that, thank you. It's my birthday today. Thank you.
Oh, really? Wow, I never knew that. Happy birthday to you.
All right.
Happy birthday to you. 34 days only left until we welcome 2025. So I think you've got about a month and a couple of days left for you to prepare yourself so that you can nail all of your New Year's resolution for 2025. Because I was talking about this a couple of days ago on radio. They say a lot of people, they start to work on their New Year's resolution on the first day of a brand new year, which is in fact very detrimental, because the best way to do it is to prepare at least 100 days before the new year begins, so that come the first day, you're ready.
Yeah, prepared already.
Yeah, because otherwise, within the first 100 days of the new year, you've forgot about your resolution. It dies off. It dies a very fast death. Anyway, so we are here today to talk about a rather serious subject, something that's plaguing our society these days. And it's good to know that there are people like you who are doing all the work that you can to ensure children, or whoever it is who needs a companion, a legal companion. Yeah. Now, can we first start off by defining legal companion service that is provided by the Legal Aid Department?
All right. So the legal companion service, the name itself, I believe it explains where we aim to provide service to the minors who are below 18 years old, obviously, specifically who had fallen victim to any form of sexual offences.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Now, aside being a minor below the age of 18 years who sometimes fall victim to any form of sexual offenses, what are the requirements that need to be fulfilled so that they become eligible for legal companion services?
All right. To be eligible under the legal companion service, the requirements are not very tough, actually, to be honest, because there are only basically two requirements need to be fulfilled. First, need to be a minor below 18 years old when the case is being commenced in court, and also the applicant need to be a citizen of Malaysia.
Right. And will they be assigned? How does this work? I mean, do the minors reach out to you, or explain to us the system. How does it work?
Okay. So how the system works is, like, for example, for sexual offences cases, like in this situation itself, when there is a situation where the case being commenced in court.
Right.
Okay, for an example, there is a child who is a victim of a sexual offences, for an example, a rape. Okay,
Right.
So the parents, most of the time, the parents are the one who is actually lodging a police report on behalf of the children,
Okay.
or maybe the school teachers. If the if the school teacher, it can be anyone
for the matter.
So
Right.
after that, either the parents or the school teacher or anyone can reach out to us. That's why we are stationed in all the states in
I
Malaysia.
see.
So can reach out to us for us to assist them throughout this process.
And who can be assigned to carry out the obligations as a legal companion?
Okay, as I said earlier, our JBG legal aid department has been stationed in all the states in Malaysia. So all the legal officers under the judicial and legal service scheme can carry out the case for assist them under the legal companion service.
Okay. Yeah. Could you give us a picture on the extent of this issue? How big of an issue is it in the country? And you've been out there. You've spoken to victims.
Yeah.
So yeah, give us some insights. How bad is it?
It is very bad because most of the children, they are children.
Yeah.
Although they are 16 or even 6 years old, they are children. It's just their mentality differs according to the age gap.
Yeah.
And they are very traumatized even by the event or the incident because they have never expected this. More or less, most of the culprits are actually the family members. Yeah.
I think that's another important thing as well, where we need to, have better education for these minors to know what are the boundaries, right? It's like when you talk about sex education isn't just sex education. It's also far more than that.
It's wider.
Yeah. And to know and to realize that when someone is touching you inappropriately,
you need to take action for yourself. Yeah. We'll go in for a quick break, Kanmani, and then when we come back, we'll dive into this conversation deeper. Today on What Matters here on Tracks Momentum, I'm speaking to Kanmani Nookaiah. She's the Senior Deputy Director at the Legal Aid Department for the Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur, and she's today speaking to us about the Legal Companion Service. Don't go anywhere. What Matters, we'll be right back.
Momentum. I'm Anil on the mic, and yes, our guest today asked me how can I address you. Yes, you can call me Anil. Her name is Kanmani, and she's the senior deputy director at the Legal Aid Department of the Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur, and she's today speaking to us about the legal companion service that is actually offered by the Legal Aid Department, and this is in particular for the most vulnerable people in today's society, minors below the age of 18 who are susceptible maybe, or maybe have suffered some form of violence, some form of, torture by some irresponsible people, and maybe when they come forward to talk to us and tell us about their issues, well, there is help for them. And Kanmani today is talking to us all about that. Kanmani, welcome back to What Matters. Now, Kamini, I think it's also pretty important for us to also highlight the challenges that you face at the Legal Aid Department, particularly in encouraging the victims who have who have become victim to sexual offences. They might be pretty hesitant to come forward, right? So, how have you overcome this challenge? What are some of the things that is done by the Legal Aid Department to encourage these people to come forward and let them know that help is there for them?
All right, we are still overcoming, to be honest, because we are still facing challenges on daily basis in order for us to make people to come forward and tell us their problem, and all, especially particularly minors in sexual abuse cases. First of all, the trust.
Yeah.
To gain the trust of parents is very important because it's not everybody can open up about this to some unknown person.
Right.
So first we need to gain the trust of the public itself that we are there.
Yes.
And all the information that they are giving us, it's private and confidential. We are not going to reveal it anywhere, be it anytime. Then number 2, less knowledge. So our community, even in our society itself, regardless of their income or whatever the state, lifestyle, social life or anything it is, less knowledge is there.
Yeah, of course.
For the people to have this knowledge that there is a legal aid department who are there to help these people, they can actually come there to gain help, to seek help.
Okay. You reached a point where where this conversation can get a little bit interesting. I have some questions here, but we'll still stick to what you mentioned, right? Because I think this is a moment for us to, like I said, inform, inspire, empower, a little bit education as well. Less knowledge. So now, assuming the adults who are listening to us, they know where to signpost a minor, right? Now, assuming a minor approaches an adult and says, "This has happened to me, right? I was here with this person. I thought this person was there to look out for my well-being, but this is what happened to me." How should we respond? What is the first thing that we should be telling them?
To the minor.
To the minor. How do we respond? So we know, once we've heard this from them, we know we can approach the Legal Aid Department. But in the meantime,
what
right?
Yes.
What do we tell them? How do we comfort them?
All right.
Yeah.
Your question itself has the answer. Comfort them.
Comfort
them first.
Yeah. What can we say?
Of the minor to reveal all the information, or at least 50% of the information on what really happened to the minor, be it whatever gender, because the sexual abuse is genderless. It can be done to any boys, girls, it's genderless. So first comfort them that you are someone who can help them, or even if you are helpless, you can actually listen to them. You are trustworthy. You're not going to judge them.
Yeah.
Judgmental society is the main stigma of the minor, where these minors, although they are minors, but you see social media are everywhere.
Yeah.
So even minors are actually subject to judgmental society, where they tend to overthink that if I reveal this to someone, even if I reveal this to my mother, is my mother going to judge
me?
So don't be a judgmental person.
Right. Okay. So comfort them and never judge them.
Yeah.
I think, when you say judge them, because what we're trying to do is trying to point out certain phrases, certain sentences that may cause them to hold back, maybe.
Yep.
Because sometimes when you talk about these kinds of things, someone who is not experienced might say, "Did you do something to trigger that kind of act upon you?
Yeah.
What did you do?" Right?
Yes.
Go on. Yeah.
I've heard many situations where the family members itself, they're judging their own children. Where you have been close with this person, so you should have expected all this way before.
Wow.
Same reaction I have given. So don't be judgmental.
Right. Never judge them. You'll never
judge.
know what happened because, like I said in the preface of this discussion, people who intend to cause these kinds of harm to minors, they're very, how do I say? They're very meticulous in carrying out their activities and their modus operandi.
Yeah.
They groom them. They know how to play victim sometimes when they get caught red-handed. Now, okay, let's move on to legal companion service. What are the roles of a legal companion?
Okay, we have a few roles.
Right.
First, to advise the guardians or the protectors, because the guardians, not only the parents, it can be the relatives, as I said earlier, it can be the school teachers or any social welfare officers and all.
Right.
Then to obtain the relevant information on behalf of the victims of the sexual crimes related to the charge against the accused. Because, as I said earlier, when there is a police report being launched on the sexual abuse has been done, police, obviously, they're going to make an investigation and they will produce all the papers to the public prosecutor, and prosecution will decide whether the case need to be charged in court or not. So once the case has been charged in court, so we are there to get the documents from the public prosecutor to review the documents and also to advise the victims and also the family on what they have done, on what they should do in future and all. Then to provide legal advice based on the documents. Then obviously when the case is being charged in court, the victim need to go to court more often.
Yes.
To testify in court, to see what's happening
That
in the court
itself can
and
be
all.
also traumatic, right? To
Yes.
recollect the entire incident time
Incident.
and time again.
Every time need to visit the court, it gives a traumatic experience to the child itself.
Yeah.
And also to the family members, especially to the family who has never been to court, who has never been out of city or anywhere. Out of suddenly they have to go all the way to court and all the way to the police station, walking up and down all the way here.
Yes.
It actually causes traumatized not only to the children, also to the family members and also the siblings. Then to advise the guardian and protector on their permitted actions that they can do after the case has been charged in court.
Right. Now let's define sexual offences against children. I mean, crystallize that for us.
All right. Sexual offences against the children, there is an act itself where we called it as Sexual Offence Against Children Act 2017, where there are few sections. First, child grooming.
Okay.
So child grooming, as you can see, what is child grooming? It's actually sexually communicating with a child, as you said, Anil.
Yeah.
For this accused to gain the trust of the child, to groom the child, nowadays they really, really do it well, as I would say.
Yeah.
They gain the trust first.
Yes.
That I am there, I'm here, I'm not an outsider. After they gain the trust, then only they do all these illegal stuffs where they sexually communicate with the child, communicating with the child with the intention to commit and also to groom them in a sexual manner.
Yeah.
And meeting the child after the child grooming. That's for child grooming.
Yeah.
Then number 2 is child sexual abuse material, where they produce and directing the child photos or videos to be used for a child sexual abuse material.
Oh my God.
Where they use it in the internet or any other platforms where they sell it to gain profit out of the video or the photos.
Yeah.
Then number 3 for sexual assault, which is very basic, where the action of touching any part of the body of the child with the intention of sexual abusing them and violencing them.
Yeah.
And number 4 is the rape.
Right.
Rape is actually differs where if it is under 16, because minors, as I said earlier, right, under 18.
Right.
So under 18, everybody is minors. But rape is actually, there is a different stigma.
Non-consensual. I mean,
yes,
put
consensual
in
and
some legal.
non-consensual.
Right.
Where below 16, although it's consensual or non-consensual, it's regardless.
It's considered rape.
It's
Straight out
considered
rape.
Yep.
Right.
If it is after 18, the consent matters there.
Right.
So that's why, as I said earlier, the parents are judgmental when it involves more than 16 years old children there.
Right. Wow. God, it's a very interesting topic we're talking about, but I feel sad as well because
Yeah.
as we dig deeper into this, we're slowly getting into the crux of this conversation, and I can't help but to feel sorry for the victims because now I'm recollecting all of those stories that I read online about children being groomed and being violated and so on, and most oftentimes the perpetrators are people who know. They know the movements of these children. So they only attack on kids who have very minimal contact with their parents, who are maybe home alone all the time. And then this person is the one who sends them back from school to home. And then there's that moment where they are spending the most amount of time.
Yeah. Most of the accused are well known to the children.
Very well known to children. Now, another thing I want to talk about, right? This is a very traumatizing experience for kids. Of course, and the legal system is in place. And as the saying goes, right? Justice delayed is justice denied.
Right.
Justice rushed is also justice crushed.
Yes.
So hence why everybody has to go through the legal system,
Yeah.
right? Once the legal entire process is done and the perpetrators are charged and they are faced with the charges go behind bars, what happens to the victim? How does the legal companion service help rehabilitate them? Rehabilitation, how does that come into the picture?
We do, in legal aid, we don't do counseling.
Right.
But then we do refer them to welfare offices
Right.
where counseling can be done there. But also, there is also provided counselors in PDRM as well, where in police department, there are certified counselors there as well to counsel these kids.
So during the due process of this legal this legal process, while it's taking place, should the victim say that, I want to talk to someone, I need some counseling?
We ask them
Okay.
even before they say.
Right.
So we always ask them, are you okay? How do you feel? It's not actually, to a child, you cannot talk straight to the point.
Yeah.
You need to you need to make friend with them. You cannot simply, for an example, let's say the child's name is, my name is Kanmani, okay?
Right.
I'm the child, let's say for an example. If I'm talking to, if someone is talking to me,
Yeah.
if I'm going to interview this Kanmani as a child, I'm not going to address this Kanmani as Kanmani. First of all, I'm going to ask, how do your parents call you at home? How many siblings do you have? Be friends with them. Address them like how their friends address them, how
Right.
their parents address them. So that's how you gain their trust.
Yeah.
So that's how you gain to communicate with them. So how do you feel today? Have you eaten?
Right. Okay. Gain their trust, comfort them, and at the same time, I think this one should come at the very top. Never ever judge them at all. Never judge
Never
them.
judge them.
Yeah.
Never ever judge them.
Because if they come forward, because that's the other thing about parenting as well. When a parent overreacts to a child, telling them, "Mommy, Papa, I did this," and the parent overreacts, then that's it. You're not going to get the child to come and open up to you about anything anymore after that.
Yeah. I can tell you, if a child decides to keep quiet or keep silent, no one can actually change the mind.
Yeah. But how do we also see? That's another thing as well, right? Sometimes children who lack love at home. I mean, we're moving a little bit away from from the legal perspective of this conversation, because I think we also need to talk to the vulnerability aspect of this. Children sometimes, or minors who lack the attention, they lack the love that they're getting from their parents. They get it when they are with these victims, right?
You seek what you don't get.
You seek what you don't get. That is
Yeah.
the sad part of it. Yeah. Anyway, pretty heavy topic right now, but yeah, we'll go in for a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with this discussion on what matters. Today, I'm speaking to Kanmani Nookaiah, the Senior Deputy Director of the Legal Aid Department of Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur, and we are today speaking about legal companion service for the vulnerable demographic in our country. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back to What Matters on Tracks Momentum. My name is Anil on the mic, and today we're talking about something that really, really matters. It really matters because within our vicinity, in our families, look at your own family, my family, the families of our producers over here, my boss, we all have little children. Little children who sometimes are very vulnerable because they're considered minors. And there are people out there, irresponsible adults, who want to make use of these minors for their personal benefit. Of course, we want our children to live in a carefree life, to enjoy life just like little kids, worry-free. But then again, there are important things that we need to teach them so that they're able to identify when someone is doing something that they're not supposed to do to them. And to talk to us about this, we have someone from the Legal Aid Department. She's the Senior Deputy Director. Her name is Kanmani Nookaiah. Kanmani, welcome back to What Matters.
Hello.
So, Kanmani, during the break, I asked you a question, and you had a lot of things to say, so I cut you out. I told you, we'll save this when we go on air. So I'll ask you the question again, right? Now, you defined, when we're talking about rape and so on and so forth, below the age of 16, it's considered rape. 16 to 18, well, then that consensus comes in the picture. Now, if a girl who is 16 and she's being touched, a boy for the matter, a girl or a boy, right? When she's being touched or he's being touched and he feels that he's being touched inappropriately, he probably can identify that. And at 15, 16, pretty mature to know these kinds of things. What about kids who are maybe 5, 6? They may see, the way I look at it, they may look at that as a form of affection. Someone just showing affection to them when they're being touched. How
do they differentiate?
How do they differentiate? How do we tell this to a kid who's 5 or 6? If someone touches you this way,
Okay.
without robbing their innocence. I'm sorry, but I have to just squeeze that in. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, without robbing the innocent.
Yeah.
Like, okay, as I said earlier during our break itself, kids nowadays, it's not kids on like how we used to be when we were kids. Kids nowadays, frankly, they are very, very intelligent.
Right.
They are really intelligent. It's all about how we are going to upbring them. So it's actually on the parents, how early they are going to teach them about good touch and bad touch, obviously, because I have been to few shelter homes where they don't have parents, They have been taken care of by these welfare officers and all, where they have been taken care of by 2 to 5 welfare officers taking care of these 50 children or 30 children.
Right.
Where they don't get this one-to-one guidance like how we all have gotten, right?
Right.
So these children, they themselves, so I believe they are more, like as you said earlier, our children are more privileged for me. I would say that because they get their guidance, direct guidance from their parents, not like these kids, right? So even them also, if they teach them like about this good touch and bad touch, I've seen this easily 3 or 4 years old kid there where they can easily tell about good touch and bad touch, and they can differentiate when someone is touching them in bad with a bad intention.
Right.
Although I feel a simple point that I would tell, or maybe a minimal advice, maybe for my age that I can give for the parents is, regardless whether the intention is good or bad, do not let anyone to touch your kids, whether it's a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
Do not let, even if it is a parents.
Yeah.
I know it will grab their innocence or whatever it is, but the society is bad nowadays.
Yeah.
So we need to also think about that.
Correct.
So the innocent part, I believe, can come afterwards, but the caution part need to be before that.
Prevention's better than cure.
Yeah.
Because I once saw a little kid. He was about 3 or 4 years of age. He was actually someone related. He was a child of someone who was related to me, but I haven't seen the boy since he was a little kid. And then when he was 3, I saw him. I wanted to go and shake hands with him, and his immediate reaction was, no. He nodded left and right. He said, no. So when I asked him, why? He said, my mommy told me not to shake hands with people that I don't know. I think that's simple, right?
Yeah.
We can just start off that way.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Start with simple things first. More or less they will learn.
And if even someone that you know calls you out to go to the shop or go to the store, always ask mommy or papa's permission first.
Yeah.
Approval. Yeah. Wow. Now, let's all talk about the thing that may be a concern to some people, right? Legal services. Getting a lawyer, sometimes getting a lawyer that can help you win a case. They say, you got money, you got really good money, yeah, your chances are pretty high. You don't have money, yeah, you may not get a lawyer but that's subjective, right? Now, if there are people out there who want to get legal companion services for their child who has been sexually abused, is finance a factor at all in this picture?
Financially, I believe legal aid department very friendly in financial fee, because our registration fee is just 10 ringgit.
That's it.
10 ringgit will be charged, while a fixed sum of 200, that also if the contribution shall be made if the parents or guardians income is above 50,000 per year.
Okay, if it's less than that,
it's just 10 ringgit.
It's just 10 ringgit, a flat fee.
Yeah.
Right. Good to know. At least just 10 ringgit, which is basically to subsidize everything, that the entire system and the due process. Wow. Kanmani, Nookaiah, I have to say we've come to the end of our conversation today, but it was enlightening to say the least. We spent, I think, usually we try to limit this conversation to 30 minutes, but I went offshoot a little bit for another extra 5 minutes because, why not, right? When we can squeeze in a couple of things here and there to enlighten everyone.
Public need to know about this.
Of course. I thank you very much for making this journey. And I think I'm going to put this forward to my producer and my boss that we have you again over here, because it's very important that we bring about more, things like this so that people...
glad.
Yeah, parents, kids, they all know how to protect themselves, and to also know that there is a mechanism within the legal system in the country, right, to help them, represent them, and put these people who have been irresponsible behind bars. Because it really sickens me, it tires me, and it really, my heart pounds, and I get outraged when I hear of adults doing things like this to children. I mean, come on. Really. It's sad,
really
right?
Heartbreaking.
Very heartbreaking. It outrages me. On that outrage, your final words before I let you go.
I just hope the community gets better, be more human.
Yeah.
Regardless to the children or to the adults, especially to children. They are very, very, very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Do not misuse them.
Yes.
And do not grab their innocence. As I said earlier, as you have said earlier, children and innocence need to be played together. So do not grab their innocence by doing these inappropriate things.
Right. Kanmani, daughter of Nookaiah, thank you very much for setting aside your time. We look forward to having you again on What Matters. You have a lovely day and continue doing the great work you're doing.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. That is a wrap for today's edition of What Matters on TRAXX Momentum. We spoke to Kanmani Nookaiah, the Senior Deputy Director of the Legal Aid Department of Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur. And she spoke today to us about the Legal Companion Service. And I think the key takeaway here, apart from us being informed of the legal mechanism that is in place to represent the vulnerable minors in the country, is how should we, as adults, approach and tackle this issue when a minor comes up to us to open this thing, to open up about this harm that has happened to them. And like Kanmani mentioned, the most important thing is to never ever judge them. Never ask them a question that would implicate that they brought it upon themselves. Never do that. And number 2, comfort them. Maybe a suggestion that I can give, ask them, how does your mother call you? And use that to address them throughout the conversation. Trust me, they'll open up to you even more. And when you find out about that, immediately reach out to the Legal Aid Department. Coming up in less than 5 minutes is the news at 12, and I'll be seeing you for more of TRAXX Momentum. Don't go anywhere.